Well, thank you for clicking on this Fun with Pete and Sherry video. I'm your host, Mr. Julian, and with me tonight I've got a special guest, very special guest, Mr. Tom, who is a high school friend of mine, and
way back.
We wound up in different parts of the country and just didn't see each other for a long time. And then we saw each other for once, and hung out. Had a great time.
Here and there.
That was 20 years ago, though. Now.
Guilty.
And so now he just happened to show up. He gave me a call last night, and he's in town. And so as I get older, and I'm ripping off the quote from Christopher Hitchens here, but as I get older, it becomes more and more apparent that you cannot make old friends. And so I've got an old friend here, and so I figured we'd do something special. And if you measure special by expense, I haven't got anything more special in the house than my Macallan 25-year-old. And so I figured we would do a review of this. And I did mention Macallan 25. There may be another video that has Macallan 25 on it, but you'll note I don't actually do a review of it. I believe at that point I was just impressed with myself that I was able to afford a glass. And so we could do
a
it.
video of you just looking at it.
Exactly. I think I just drank it and said, like, "Fuck all you motherfuckers!
This is
You
it.
tried to stop me. You can't stop me.
You can't tell me what to do.
You
This is
can't
America.
tell me what to do." Exactly.
With great scotch.
Yeah. And so anyway, times are different now. And Tom is a musician. Anything else you want to say about yourself, Mr. Tom?
I'm finding myself bartending nowadays, so I've been, I've had a lot of worlds open up to me in terms of tastes and flavors and drinks and cocktails and scotches, and so it's interesting to me that you really got involved with enjoying the scotch spectrum. Just like the good old days.
Clean the fuck out of that glass here. Here we go. This is dead.
one's
This is
clean.
dead. Okay.
There you go. Well, this is like holy rites here. I think we've got good feng shui going on in here now.
Yes. Now, okay.
So bartender, schmartender, that's stuff and things, scotch.
Yes,
Music.
exactly, and so it's good for you to have had some of these whiskeys in case people ask about them, and a trick for a bartender, of course, if you can push whiskey on people, it saves you a lot of trouble, as opposed to making cocktails and shit like
this
that.
One's best enjoyed just the way it is. Well, that's one thing I'd have to say in my bartending, even recently. Don't mix your scotch with Coca-Cola, please. Thank you.
Yes, no, we're well aware of that here. I mean, unless you want to drink, if you want to drink mixing scotch and mix it with Coca-Cola, no, I don't care. Right?
Yeah, well, I shouldn't say that because the guy that I serve that to is a really cool guy, and if he ever sees this video, sorry, I'm just sort of saying. I mean, but if you like it, I'll make it for you.
Well, it's just a matter of expense, right? If you're going to pay the money for sipping scotch, where you're paying a lot of money to know what it tastes like,
or you're paying a good amount of money to alter the taste of your Coca-Cola, that specifically.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, wow, this Coke tastes funny to the tune of $150, which is what a dram of this would run you, if you're lucky.
I feel especially lucky.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, so I don't know. I've done a few things about Macallan, but the thing is, it's blah blah blah. It's hard to fucking keep up. Macallan is changing their lineup so quickly. I thought I covered their all their ages, all their their international market stuff, but now they've got an entire new range of things. They've got the double cask, they've got edition number 3, they've got edition number 4, and I'll tell you, between those, edition number 4 is the one to drink.
That was tasty.
But you can still find the aged expressions around, and the problem I feel is that like any normal distillery doing this would be fucking itself up. By not giving people something that they recognized. And I just know that with Macallan, it doesn't make any difference. And they're making all the money in the world off their old stuff. They can sell it for any price they want, and people will buy it. And I'm not... It's not that it's, in James Bond movie, he's going to drink a 50-year-old Macallan. That doesn't bother me. I'm glad that good Scotch is getting some news. But it's like, it doesn't always have to be Macallan, okay? There's a lot of good Scotch out there.
Yeah. Which is why today we have Macallan.
Which is why today we're doing 25-year-old Macallan. Okay. And with that, let's go ahead and splash some of this around.
You were saying something about their distillery add-on to their distillery.
Oh yeah, no, they built essentially a completely new distillery, on the same land, and a lot of the big distillers have done that as they're adding capacity because Scotch is becoming big all over the place, and it's kind of like poker was maybe 10 years ago.
There's a serious trend with our bourbons going through a big trend.
Yeah, I mean American bourbon, thankfully, because it's very good, is well known all around the world as excellent whiskey, and
you can't keep some stuff on the shelves. It's wild, and then there's distilleries that make things similar, and you can enjoy that just as much with bourbons. And then people that do enjoy it, there's such a big bourbon kick going on right now. A lot of those people kind of need to be helped navigate into the Scotch world, I think, because there's so many incredible flavors with Scotch.
Yeah. No, we just had some of Weller's Create Your Own Perfect whiskey last night, and it's great stuff. But I've ranted on this time before. It's not Schnitzel Weller whiskey. It's Buffalo Trace whiskey.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So let's go ahead and pour some of this in there.
Ooh, getting down to business. Oh wow, am I worth it? The color is amazing.
Color is pretty amazing. Now, when I was in Costa Rica, I talked about the how red the ruby stuff was, but that was cheating. That was just using. That was just pouring it in cheap red shit. Frankly, that whiskey was shit when you get right down to it. Now this is going to have been aged in some of the old school sherry stuff that barely even exists anymore, and aged until it had that dark rose red, or at the very least like a burnt orange Halloween. Type color. That is like
that's
amber.
A very good description.
That's like amber +2.
Yeah. And if you in a wine trick is you can take and look behind something white, a napkin on the table, and you can look and get a better idea of like the color, just in case looking through it and you're looking at a dark table. But that has an amazing color to it.
Yeah. No. Let's actually take a look at the tears and legs. Which you by tilting it and then rotating it like that. And I'm interested to do this here particularly because I have a glass, Glencairn glass, and you have... Look at that, nothing happened.
Oh, well.
Yeah, rotate it all the way around. Yeah, tilt it and then rotate it all the way around. Yeah, and then what you want to watch is the lines. Oh, yeah. Now, yours is actually far more interesting than mine. What it means that they're very thin like that is that the alcohol content is pretty high. It's only 43.
That's
but
anyway, what they say.
And they went a little
this glass
faster.
Has a lot of fingerprints on it, but yeah,
that's true. That's true. Now this did not go creepy slow like the Balvenie 30 I had.
Interesting.
But it's still pretty slow. So anyway, tears and legs are not telling us the full story here. I would guess. So let's nose. Oh man, and I can tell you
that is really intriguing.
That is beyond and different from any other Macallan that I've had.
Yeah, the plum stands out to me really right off.
I agree. Plum, and basically what we're getting here is a concentration of those very deep back of the throat type flavors, really heavy stuff. Plum. I almost feel like plum pit. I know it doesn't sound good, but it's like, but it's like you can really taste the wood, or you can really smell the wood.
Yep.
And those really dark, deep fruits.
It's an excellent way to describe it.
And And God, that really just smells good. Kitty, kitty.
Hey, baby.
Do you want to pick that kitty up?
Come here,
Tipsy used to be in all my videos.
Tipsy. Come here,
But that's not Tipsy. Tipsy is still alive, but not. That is Moxie.
He's
Kitty.
being trepidatious.
That's a she. That's Kodiak's mommy.
Aw, sweet
Kitty.
thing. Well,
Anyway,
beautiful
okay.
black cat with orange eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Look
All right.
like the color of this.
All right, you want to have a taste?
Oh, I'm just
Go ahead.
teasing myself at this point. Wow.
It's very thick.
Man, that's amazing.
Very dark, like I was saying. Very woody.
Those dark fruits just really, it just fills with dark fruit, almost a fig in a way.
Yeah, fig, very much. Getting fig, a little date. And fig and date are like, in the lighter Macallans now, like in that number 4, I say fig and date are like the principal things. But in this, the darker, the plum is very much there.
And the way it changed was so interesting, and the way it finished, so clean, you know.
Now, this is as I think I've said before. This one, you could wait another half an hour before you had another sip because it clings to your.
It really does. I mean, it's that's a slow sipper, enjoyable scotch.
And a good thing because I'm just saying bottles now running for $1,600 if you could find one.
Well, we got less than half a bottle here. We'll take bids online. No. This one's more expensive because it has graced the testing zone, the portal. What do you call this? It's the
one more asshole with a camera. Come on. No.
Oh, I thought I was the asshole.
Yeah. Well,
one more asshole in front of the camera.
That's there was a time years ago when so many there was not many people doing this when I could say I was honestly the third most popular Scotch reviewer doing videos and like the second most was 10 times more popular than me and the most was 10 times more popular than her. So it's like it was just me and Whiskey Bitch and Ralphie for a while.
Whiskey Bitch.
Yeah, Ralphie now is has always been the greatest, and I've said it 100 times. Everything I know, I learned from Ralphie, right? You know, and so if you only ever want to watch one review of a whiskey, watch Ralphie's. He knows what. But if you want to watch two, hey, I think this is a good option.
I've watched your videos and I think they're great. I really enjoy it, and I enjoy this. It's beautiful, and I wish I could. I mean, we hit it with the deep fruits, the deep dark fruits, the plum, fig.
And that is very deep. Well, although I'm gonna say, I am not as blown away by this as I feel I should be. And I am not as blown away by it as I was when I had my first dram of it many years ago.
Well, how long has the bottle been open?
Only a few months. I mean, only a couple months. Not long enough for me.
I mean, and with some bourbons, I've noticed. With some scotches, I've noticed change too quickly. Which might say something about the scotch.
They do, and especially like once I get this down below the red line here, and you might even say Macallan put this red line here as like a warning. The way it goes with good whiskey in a bottle, of course. How much it degrades over time is a proportion of the ratio between the whiskey and the emptiness. And if you've got significantly more emptiness than Scotch, your whiskey will grow flat. And it is not as tasty at that point.
You could do a the compression, the stoppers, the wine stoppers that we have at the bar, those things are amazing. I've seen a bottle opened, and oops, we didn't mean to open this one. Put a stopper on it, so it had air for a minute, and then it didn't, and then it got pulled out, and then it was left for 10, 15 days, and I went to grab it, and I'm like, oh, the date. Of course, try it. It was wonderful.
Well, it might even be that if you give it
You
air,
gave it a
give
little
it
air.
air for like 15
Yeah.
days, that would be enough for it to unfold, right?
Yeah.
And-
So there's that. You know, you could try. I don't know. Does anyone do that? Is that breaking rules to compression stop your scotch?
There are no rules. In fact,
There
a
are
lot
no
of us,
rules, and if there are, they are meant to be bent.
Yeah. In fact,
If
Ralph,
not,
Ralphie always says it's like, you know, if you want to keep your scotch after it's gone down to that level, you should pour it in a smaller bottle. And
Yeah.
but what I
Not in
do,
a
of course,
flask.
is when I get down to 2 inches, I just pour the rest into the house blend, and that's why the house blend is full of very good scotch.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So I think we're already onto our next episode here.
No, but I introduced the house blend in actually my last with Miss Hope.
But it's changed.
And yeah, I'm sorry Miss Hope is not with us today, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, you are
Now,
honest,
here's what I think we
you
should
are
do.
honest and true with your statement, and that's and I can see things like that happen. As you said, when things get too old, sometimes things can happen. Maybe it happened. I mean, it's a darn good bottle of scotch for sure.
It is,
But I see what you
there's
mean.
but one thing I would want in a Macallan of this and in a whiskey of this price is I would want absolutely nothing, no taste that I don't want. And towards the end, this gets a little dregsy and sour and watery. And I can't explain it any better. That's the
You
word.
pretty much
Now,
hit it.
Now,
I mean,
let
I
me
kinda
say.
didn't want to
Yeah,
go there, but you went there.
Let me
Oh,
see
yeah,
what
let's
happens.
open it up.
Let's open this. Maybe it's just too collapsed on itself right now. We need to let it open a little bit. Okay. Now that's a good spoon, a little spoon of water and thing like this. But to really see what that does to it, it's going to take time.
No.
So we're going to fast forward to we're going to jump forward into the future.
That kind of layout.
All right, so it's been some time, and we want to see what this is going to be like after some water and some time. So let's see the nose.
Is it okay?
Well, nose first,
Of course.
and I mean it is fresher. There's
Yeah.
more. There's like berries and stuff out up front now. So yes, I can tell you right away. There's been a certain amount that's unlocked.
It
here.
has changed a lot, especially just in the time that I prematurely took a sip, and and from the first time I smelled it, first couple minutes. Now it
All right, well, let me taste.
definitely different. Not just the floral notes start to pop out, but some of the spice notes start to pop out a little bit.
That is a lot fresher, and it is still deep. As the
Wow.
issues I mentioned before, some improvement, but I'm not letting this one entirely out of the doghouse.
I get you. It almost tastes like it's gone in a brandy-like direction, like a cognac and wine-like direction, which is interesting for these grains.
Well, I mean, it is of course aged for 25 years in a wine barrel, essentially a sherry barrel.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have plenty of wine influence. But what's wrong here is the spirit. This is not 100% right spirit. This was spirit that was a little, I'm not sure, a little heady, a little fainty. It is not exquisitely perfect spirit. And that kind of shit should never make its way into whiskey of this expense.
You're saying,
now,
but was it blended into what we have now? Or you're saying they had something and maybe it was shaggy on top or whatever, and they blended it, or?
Most standard expressions are blends of different barrels from the warehouse. Okay, the only thing that they have to keep, unless it says single cask or single barrel, right. And so this is very much like that. But they had some whiskey here, and I've talked about this with Macallan, that there's some whiskey that's come off their stills that is not what it should be, and it is finding its way into the mix, and that should not happen. And I almost feel like not giving this a rating at all, or giving it a rating of 0, because for a whiskey of this expense, there should not be. Let's see if we can, get rid of something. This less than perfect
should be a no-brainer.
spirit. This should be. There should be no. You should never get the sense of making a little whiskey face at a whiskey like this.
Like you're trying to.
There's a lot going on, but there's also, and of other. Well, I've had a taste for maybe 3 whiskey Macallan 25 bottles. It's the only one I've had a problem with. But if you're standing there thinking of spending $1,600 in a store, that 1 in 3 chance ought to give you pause. I'm going to be very upfront about that. It ought to give you pause. This is not perfect whiskey. This is a manufacturing error.
This is a test your fancy friends with fancy whiskey. See what they say about it. No, I'm just kidding. People
are not gonna. I don't think people are gonna harp on this. You give someone an expensive whiskey, they're gonna like it. But I'm looking for something specific, and it's okay.
We enjoyed it.
No. I'm enjoying this whiskey. This whiskey is good.
Yeah.
But if I had paid $50 for this whiskey, I would be, woohoo! I'd be, that's super. I mean, it's that kind of good. It's not $1,600 good.
Man, inflation sucks.
Now, technically, I only rate when I give a rating, and I will give it a rating, of course. I give it a rating. It's only based on the taste, but it's not going to be what Macallan would like. I'm going to give this a 7.5.
All right.
And you, as a guest reviewer, you may or may not, don't have to give a number.
Instead of a number, I would have to say that it is just around the same number variant that you gave. I'm in the higher than average enjoyability. It's good, but I think that the reservations that you have are completely sound, and I still am ecstatic for being here. Can't you tell?
Yeah, but I mean, but I gotta wonder, it's like
I'm really happy to be here. This is amazing.
When my next option hits, I may have the option of buying a really expensive whiskey, and I'm much more likely now to buy something other than a Macallan.
Some of the takeaways I think here are that it doesn't have to be the priciest bottle. You don't have to walk out with the fanciest car in the showroom. You can. Same thing with wine. You can go and find, some wine shops. You go digging around in the back and you find some dusty little Chilean Cabernet that is amazing. And, they've got years they throw around. This was a good rain year or that. And it's probably the same thing.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something else that could be going on here. If Macallan was hoping that, it would work out okay and it would taste great. And after 25 years, they opened their bottles and they thought, well, we've got a batch or 2 here that isn't everything we should. Where are you going to send that if you're Macallan? They say, because sending it to the American South probably seems to them like a foolproof way of getting rid of it without anybody noticing that there was a problem. And you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. The wool over the eyes.
But let me be very, very clear. There's a problem. This whiskey is a problem.
It's not what you want to hear. That's like phone call.
Yep.
Let me be very clear here.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't kick it out of bed for eating crackers.
No, I mean, but now, the bitterness. There's a There's just that dregsy, slight alcohol-y taste. You know, think like rubbing alcohol. You should never get that in a
You should never get the
Scotch.
Band-Aid effect.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not Band-Aid.
Exactly. It's like, huh? I feel like someone's about to give me a shot, right?
Well, like some we've had some things taste like Band-Aids.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know. A lot of
funky
people.
mezcals.
While I think most people wouldn't call this Scotch out, knowing what it was, my guess is also if you put this in a lineup with people blind, this would not be their favorite.
That would always be and that's an amazing, scorecard to look at. Is sometimes the darndest things win blind taste tests and tastings.
Now I feel like I've been sucking on a raw stick. You know, it's just like green and tanniny. It's problematic.
I feel like we should swab our mouths and see what we can grow with it. I think it would be fun if we just drank like more Scotch and just like got really funny in front of the camera and let them know that side of our humor.
What I think we need is a different bottle, because I don't think we can let this be the single bottle that we review tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. We're moving on. Moving on. Fuck this guy. And I certainly don't want people to get the impression that like I'm out to get Macallan or something.
No,
that's not the case.
No, they're amazing.
Yeah. So let's try. I've got 2 more Macallans here. I've probably got some more around somewhere, but I got 2 more before. I don't know. I guess we probably will be too silly to keep going.
Who, us? We were already too silly to begin with.
So this I'd never seen before. This is a limited 2018 edition. It's called the Macallan Classic Cut.
Classic.
Now, you'll notice a couple things about this right away. It's in there, I'm an impressive Macallan growing wider as I go taller bottle. Like their Macallan rare cask and shit like that.
Well, at least you can hold on to it.
Yes, and you'll also notice
From bartenders.
that this one is has an alcohol content of 51.2%. So, whereas the last one we had a disappointingly low alcohol content of 43, at least this is high now. And when I bought this, I was thinking maybe this was something similar to the old Macallan cask strength, which was just really good. A damn sinful indulgence. And it certainly cost the same. So anyway, let's spread this around and see what happens.
Yeah, it's a crafty bottle. I think it's neat. Like I say, you can hold on to it. You know, the bullet bourbon bottles they were making in these ovals, and I have dropped one. It was a sad day. I almost cried.
Really?
Right at the bar, brand new bottle. I had taken the fixings off of it, and it just.
And a bullet bourbon is fine bourbon.
Bullet bourbon's pretty good bourbon,
yeah.
and it bounced off the
Still,
floor.
you only lost $45 or whatever.
Yeah, something like. It bounced off the floor, and then as I saw it, I was like, "That can't be happening." It actually bounced off the floor, it got to about here, and then it started separating, like a slow motion. It was like all over the place.
Now I'm already way ahead of you. I've nosed and tasted this Macallan, but I like to put people on the spot at least a little bit, and I want your honest opinion, because really what we do here is we taste it, we describe, and there's
oak, sweet vanilla, vanilla. Well, that went all kinds of different directions. Wow.
Compare that to what we just had.
If you had asked me which one was the more expensive, I probably would have said this one. I don't know. That's
Yeah, I
kind
mean,
of,
I would have said that one was the more expensive only because
Yeah.
I can taste the age on it.
Yes,
but that
yeah,
doesn't
I was
mean
just
it
gonna-
was the better.
While I was saying that, I almost retracted what I was saying because I would go for the other. Just in other words, kind of the wrong analogy. It's just nice. It's very pleasant.
I agree. This has got a lot going on. It's going in a number of different directions. The bold smack you in the face Macallan red fruits, the strawberry and cherry and stuff, are sort of absent here. And that's unfortunate, maybe, but it does have a lot going on in terms of the vanilla, spice. It's darting around in those other ranges we were talking about, the date and fig, and a lot of nice flavors going on.
Almost a citrusy or apricot.
Absolutely correct. And what I really sense having a sip of this one is that it's smoother and ease and more drinkable than the one we just had. And that I go to my point that we had a manufacturing error in that last bottle.
I think so. This doesn't have the smokiness at the end. It doesn't have, it finishes in a sort of vanilla oak way. Kind of, it's consistent throughout the whole time that you have it, even though it darts around in different directions there for a minute before it leaves you.
Yeah, and as pleasant as this is, it's not the big, huge smack that I recalled from the Macallan cask strength, but it's a very pleasant one. So as far as it being a good dram, I'm like, it's a good dram, but you can also kind of taste the youth on it, and it's just at $90 a bottle. It's yet another Macallan expression that they've priced well beyond what their manufacturing costs were, or what they could profit at in selling it. I mean, most distillers would put that in a $59 bottle, and they'd be and people would like it. You know,
a little inflated again.
But $89 is a lot more than $59.
And it makes the cut. It's classic. But who got cut on this one?
Yeah, and again, it's good, but it's not what you would have thought you might be paying for. And essentially that boils down to, and I'm sorry to say it, becomes Macallan can't be trusted right now. And and now's the only time I have to deal with. So I mean, that means Macallan can't be trusted.
But we still like them.
Well,
but yes, it's coming. Well, the number 4 that you had, that you have there.
Yes.
Familiar with that? Amazing. So we're dealing with these little variations, and you can't, you spend the time doing these things, and then they come out the way they are.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this. The problem is the exact opposite of the one that I said. I think the spirit going in here is very good, and it gives you a little hope for the future of Macallan. But you can't take your spirit that's not aged right and sell it for too much. At least not without somebody calling you on it. And I think that person is going to have to be me right now because this is bullshit. All right.
What about the retailer?
Well, this is the South. There's only one retailer here.
Oh, yes, we're in Virginia where you basically get the one monopoly choice. Huh?
And it's not like any retailer has any say in is going to any say in like whether Macallan is good or bad. I mean, Macallan.
There's some stores that
if people
are a
come back
pricey.
and complain, they'll just go, "It's Macallan, asshole. So don't complain to me. Complain to them."
There's, generally, I'm a little further south in Florida right now, and there's some stores might be a few dollars more than an ABC liquor store. Depends on where you are. Sometimes in those expensive stores, you can find things that you can't find in regular stores, and sometimes they're actually at decent prices they just have to find these little gems in there. Sometimes I've found stuff at convenience stores down there where somebody just has a stash of stuff and it's like a library, and you can walk in there and find some really amazing things that you wouldn't have otherwise known were there if you didn't stop and thought you were going to get a lotto ticket or something.
All right, I'm giving this a 7.8 and moving on.
Moving on.
Woo! Okay, so this is edition number 4. God knows whether Macallan intends to keep these editions going.
Yeah.
And so
What's
it's
up
like,
with that?
yeah, well, we just don't know what the hell they're doing, and they're not being clear about
Number
it.
5 on the horizon?
Who the fuck knows? All I know is that I like this a lot better than number 3. I like the double cask. Okay, I don't have a bottle of that to add into the review thing right now. But anyway, but let's have it. Okay. So here, 48.4% alcohol. So quite high for a standard expression if they were to keep it at this rate, at this level. So here, things are a little better. I can happily say
Pulling us back into the parking lot, guys.
I can happily say things are doing a little better.
Yeah.
Like this expression is really what it should be. I've got a lot of the fruit flavors that we're talking about. Lots of Macallan smacking it. Lots of the red fruits and some depth. That date and fruit and vanilla and spices and molasses.
Wow.
Basically, this is the classic Macallan taste. Okay. And
It's almost like the cherryness comes out again on this one.
Yep, the red fruits. And it's pretty deep. Now, I will say I have this little issue coming on now. The flavor does not last very long. And it also doesn't go through much in the way of transition. It's pretty good, but there's a little something missing here. This is by far the best of the expressions we've had here tonight. By far. How I would love to give a Macallan like a 9.5 and say this is an amazing whiskey, and I mean I would love to do that. It's not. I can just say again. I'm not. I don't have a hard on for Macallan or anything. It's just
You just say it as it is. At some point, you say it as it is.
This is not as good as it should be. Even this one, which is the best of the 3, is not exactly what it should be.
There's
the intensity. There's a bigger intensity here. The color is great, and you can tell it's finally got a little age in it. My guess is that this is a mix of older and younger stuff. Probably 12 to 15-year-old stuff and like 6 to 8-year-old. And I like it. This is a whiskey I would drink around the house. That nasty aftertaste that I was talking about before is not here.
No.
This is a very pleasant whiskey.
You get the sherry cherry cask aftertaste in the end there. I see what you're talking about. Like I'm trying to put it on a as if it was a gradiated like a timeline.
Okay, well now I'm getting some transition. Okay.
I mean, the nose isn't the most interesting thing to me. Then I go into sipping it, and it goes all sorts of different directions. It's wonderful. Then it kind of just glides out a little prematurely, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, maybe I'm too hard on it. I'm getting some very nice now. After I swallow, which is like the finish kicks in, there is actually a transition that I'm getting, where it actually transitions to a nice light fruitiness. So So again, initial impression on the palate is that the flavor isn't as intense as you might want. It's and that's, and I don't know whether that's a problem with the new stills, if it's a problem with the new if there's not enough age on it yet. I really don't know. But it's just, it's not really saturating with, and the flavors. I mean, these red fruit flavors are great, but I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that Macallan ecstasy like I would sometimes get from an 18-year-old.
Now, is it anything that's peaty or smoky
Macallan
or sherry?
Macallan never uses any peat.
So you're not lacking in the peaty direction. You're not lacking in the smoky. You're not lacking in the sherry. You're not lacking in the oak. You can sort of get closer to what you're talking about by eliminating things.
It's good whiskey.
It's damn good.
This is good whiskey.
But you're getting closer to what you're figuring out by eliminating things. It seems it's like
no. Literally, it's intensity, and perhaps to some degree complexity that it's lacking. And I think that's mostly a factor of age. I think that this is as you would expect of a distillery that is expanding rapidly, that has added a lot of capacity, and has recently released a lot of new expressions. They have a lot of youth in them.
Well, they're growing places.
Yeah, I mean, we're all growing places. I mean, I was just saying, there's no excuse. But I mean, but the whiskey is as good as it is good. Now, this is good. This is way better than this. This is basically twice as flavorful as this, even though it's at a slightly lower alcoholic content.
What was your price on that? Pretty decent.
These cost about $99.
So in the same ballpark.
I mean, this is an expensive whiskey, and frankly, it should be fantastic, and it's quite good. I'm drawing a.
So
is it exactly what I want for $99 from Macallan?
Well,
no,
that's why I want to go back and look at some of the other videos and find that one where he's like, God Almighty, and being a bartender, and I read the cool bartending books like Liquid Perfection. You really got when you're honest with it, and you put all that. There's a lot of snobbery in the business, and you people think this and that and the other, and you put all that aside, and it's just like food. Do you like it? Do you have a taste for it? Can you explain it? Oh, if you can explain the taste that your desire for one thing versus the other, all of a sudden you're a connoisseur, and that's all the word means, is that you have preferred tastes, and you can explain them, and that's all that it really is. Is if you want Coca-Cola in your Scotch, then good on you. If you like that flavor, that's what you enjoy, and that's really ultimately what any bartender wants, or any server, or any person, or anybody of us with a heart wants us you to be happy. So. And
it's like so as a Scotch,
I love
as
the
a Scotch
discerning drinker, the discerning Scotch drinker.
As a Scotch connoisseur, my feeling is,
I added water to this one.
I
didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, is that the 4? Did you add some water to it?
I did add a little bit of water to that.
What do you think?
Approximately 4.5 minutes ago.
No, let's see what.
4.5 arm hairs ago.
As far as we know, it's only 4 years old. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, no. It opened it up a little bit. I have some orange-like citrusy stuff.
I get that. You're one of the only and my regular viewers will note this. You're the only regular viewers who, when you volunteer a taste, I'm not.
What did I say?
When you said you're like there was orange and citrusy there, and it's like, yes, that's very true. And when you're like plum, I'm like, yes, that's in there.
Oh,
I mean.
You mean I know what I'm talking about?
Well, not that you know what you're talking about, but you're saying what you actually experience.
Sure.
Which is a lot of people are trying to know what they're talking about, when what they should be doing is saying what they experience.
Don't put any adjectives or understandings a priori in front of your taste. When you taste it, think only what your body tells you. That's all we're saying.
Yeah. So good whiskey, but again,
Whiskey.
No. My feeling is basically I'm not buying another Macallan for 10 years. Because whatever the fuck is going wrong, I feel like being fair and giving them a chance to work out.
We're due a tour.
Let's
go see what's really going on.
No, it's not like they were going to show you that. If anything, I'll have a chance to figure that out. Not with the camera rolling, but I am going up to Whiskey Fest New York in a couple weeks.
Cool.
And when I get there, I'm going to talk to my friends in the industry, Dave Broom, Dr. Bill Lumsden, and ask them what the fuck is going on. They're not going to say anything bad about Macallan on camera. But I don't need them to, because it's like I can tell you something's not entirely right.
I trust your judgment on that, and I think that other people do too, and it's what it's worth.
Yeah, it just yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Macallan sucks. Should be the. I mean, it's not because they don't have good whiskey, but it's because I feel a bit abused as a consumer. That's for sure.
He wants to be impressed, and we might have to search around for that.
Even this is different from that. Impressed is one thing. I could be. I want to be satisfied. I feel abused.
Sorry.
It's not like that.
Them's are hard words.
I'm a winner in life, motherfucker. I'm a loser tonight because
we'll still buy your products.
Expensive. Well, no, as I said, I believe I'm not going to buy Macallan products.
Oh well, I mean, we have bought the products.
Are you kidding? I spent more money on Macallan products.
Yeah, right. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, that's like Lotto. He's like, well, wait, I spent
one more sucker, and I hope that enough people will see this that Macallan will regret. They know what
us
they're doing.
drinking their whiskey.
This is the thing. This is not like the malt master at Macallan is thinking, but that whiskey was really good. No, they know what they did. I promise you, they know what they did. They sent a bunch of cheap shit out, and they're hoping nobody would notice.
Yeah, you shouldn't keep this cheap stuff around.
Do you want a bottle?
You don't even like this stuff anyway, do you?
Tom, if you want those whiskeys, you don't even ask. They're yours.
All right. On deck.
All right.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Cilantro.
Skull.
Oh, I had to give this a rating. Because frankly, after that rant against Macallan, I should point out that Macallan is number 4 is actually pretty good.
The number 4 is good.
I'm gonna give it an.
We give the 4 5 stars.
No, I'm gonna give it an 8.4, which is not too
8.4 stars. Wait, 8.4?
Yeah. All right, but let me tell you, buddy, there's a faster gun coming over yonder when tomorrow's done. Let me tell you, buddy, and it won't be long till you find yourself singing your last cowboy song. I promise you, this is mostly impressionistic.